Try again. Look how it ping it off. But look how it ping it. That's not, you can see that's not just luck from the water how that's doing that. See that? No one could be that good at water, look. That is crazy. I'm getting it, I can get it out myself. Isn't when needed. See that? It's like you're firing that line up, look. Just put a bit of water. I'll find out what the exact ingredients are. Whether you needed the EDTA first, because that's been on for a while, in the cream. And if that done it, but I know I definitely in that was coming off. That's because this is that's magnetised, because you see it all line up. Plus you feel it really strong at first, because your head is full of it. Like, cool, when I first see that there, look. That's lining up, look. And then it just sort of, as long as you keep it wet, that's keeping it. And on your eyes is where it's worse. See, but I don't know if you can see it properly. But it's definitely not the cream, because I've been doing this for ages. You can see that, look. A frosting. That's like where the water's making that lot line up but come off. If you put a magnet to your skin, it don't work. Just, you gotta wet your face. I know that for sure. All you'll do is have a magnet stick to your head like I do, and you won't get nothing else. You might be able to do movement, and you might be able to get a little bit of black carbon or something come to the front, but you won't get this. Look there. See it? It's like, see it? It's like a really fine layer of, like I keep wanting to say a frosting, but like a really fine layer. But you need to have your forehead wet. You don't need a basketball thing, do I? If I had one of them basketball hoops, I could like play a game. Pew, 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 or target. You can see they're coming off too, when you get it right, they're coming off too much for just being flicking water on your face like that. You can tell it's not that. No way, like, would water splash off you just tapping your face. That's not about hard either. That's about soft slap. It's definitely less magnetic. I feel it's strong still. But if your head's full of fucking graphene, yeah, it's got to feel strong, innit? Getting some of it out is helping you, because it's getting brought down with UV light. The sheets. I think that's pyrite. I think pyrite is fool's gold, because the sheets look gold, and I really can't see it. They're fucking. I can't see them putting gold in, that amount of gold to cover everyone. That's a lot of gold. No wonder we're worth 145 million dead in gold. Or there's some chemical reaction that's turning our energy to gold, and then they just fucking melt us down at the end. Where's my gold? There's something going on. Shady. It's a conspiracy! Gotta get it right. That's almost too consistent, straight behind where my hand is. Like, you can tell that's the magnetic field pulling it that way. And then I suppose it reloads, squish out, suck. Your skin flex back out, so sucking it back in, and then you're bursting it again a little bit, making it pop out. If you know what I mean. So you're reloading, which is pulling that out of your hull. Because they work on that principle that they only have to have a few cells controlled, because like a cancer cell, that's said in morphogenics, if a cancer cell is connected to all the rest of the cells, that will turn into a normal cell. If it get isolated, a cell get isolated, that end up its own, you know, and then that'll do what it ought to do, turn it into a cancer cell, depending on if it's connected to anything next to it. The most important thing of the cell is the outside of the cell more than the inside of the cell, because that's where all the information is, apparently, even though we think that they do it to penetrate the cell, where the mitochondria and all that is, which is what they do something about mitochondria. I don't know how body work. I'm not a doctor. I'm a voodoo scientist. Now look, fucking hell, my skin is getting loads better. Not just because of this. Ever since I took a dewormer, which was hard to get, and I got a new lot, but I don't think I need a new lot, because my shedding's gone down, say 100% bad, to like 30% at most. So that's improved that much, which is a lot, isn't it? I was getting it every 3 days, just bursting out of my head like that, water like that. Same thing. I use a pair of tweezers, and the tweezers, and my hand, my knuckles, my bones are magnetic, but I ain't gonna be able to get rid of that because it's magnetic nanobeads, which is different than graphene. Do a total different thing. It clamp your DNA, it's turn on and off genes. I don't think that was used in the vaccine for that. Mine's older. But yeah, try water, put it on your head, give it a little while to soak in, because hydrogel is sort of, what do you call it, that breakdown in water, soluble, quite soluble. So that's why it's good to make sure you keep washing it off. But look, you sort of said, don't matter how many times I do it, I see either coming out of me, which I know it is, or the water's magnetic, which it could be. I know water's magnetic anyway, but I mean, you know what I mean. Extra magnetic with particles in it, what make it line up. Because this is lining up, and I've only done it between my eyes. I thought I'd do it there. I could have done it anywhere to start it. It wouldn't have mattered where it was, but it's just coming off air a bit easier. And I thought, you know, your pineal gland, if you want to get it away from anywhere, I think your pineal gland do a lot in the way of body health and all the rest of it, God connection, whatever you call it, or whatever. You know, if that's important, maybe you should start there. This is dry, I know I ain't got to come off, but look, you can see that? See that crystal sort of, it's forming a layer on top of my skin, and I can get rid of it and then redo it again with more water. And this the only thing is EDTA, that's the only thing I put on my head, and cream. Look, you see it, look. See? You see it, look. See it lining up on my skin. See? It's like a layer, look. That's hard to see, man. I hope this come out. I mean on the, look, you see that little bit there, look. Showing it lining up. Just change the magnetic field. That's the most important thing of getting this stuff out of you. When I do my head, all it is making an imbalance. So you get one bit of it, yeah? That's like all connected in GPS lock, say. That'll know where it is in space and time, whatever you call it. So that know where it is in space, anyway. So you mess up one bit, mess up the whole equilibrium of the whole thing. Definitely. So, if you're trying to get the hydrogel in that out, because it's all magnetic and your body become one whole field, right? You mess it up somewhere, it causes a chain reaction. That is so important to know. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. You do it once, chain reaction. And that all like mess up the equilibrium as if it don't know where it is. And then it start coming at you like easier. But that's all it take. This has covered my whole body. So I could pick any point on my body and that'll come out like between the pores. Like little frosty stuff. And I could now do it on my arm, I could do it there, I could do it there. It don't matter on my body because it's everywhere. It's like in every pore of my body. And then they do fuckery with it. Like fucking make shit move in you and all that. But it's all magnetic. We live in an electric universe, what else could it be? I'm just saying this. That's so strong, that field there. That's just like another propelling magnet. That's another thing you get with this energy a lot. Rather than a pulling, sometimes when you feel it with your hand, because my hands are magnetic, that add to the whole body, the magnetic field. See, that's what it do. That mess up that magnetic field, changing it, making your body another magnetic field in a different direction, messing it up, making it come out, explode. Once that's coming out, that's magnetic. That's also changing the imbalance, bringing even more out. And then you keep doing it until you give up, because that can go on forever. You know, there's a point where you think that'll do, because otherwise you just end up probably crying or something. You have to like stop, and even what's coming out end up going back in what's left. Do you know what I mean? But I don't see other people with a gel problem like me. I got the really hydrogel and parasites bad. I did anyway. Sandflies or fireflies, I don't know which. And they're bad. And that's definitely a synthetic AI, and it is definitely living. Because when I get it under the microscope, you see all the graphene oxide sheets and everything like that. And you see like nematodes, but you don't see nothing like flies moving. Where you think all them flies come out of my head if you look at my video where it say parasite flies. If you look at it, you'll see the hydrogel and the flies. Because the flies fly back into the head. So what could it be that can go out, round and up and round like that, and then pop, and then it go whoosh back into your head? What could do that? Unless that's a fly. And I got the Pfizer I did at the jab, but I got the Pfizer documents, and that said could get one of the top lots where it say infestation, but it don't talk no more about it. But it admit to an infestation. Now what does that mean? Why would it say that? Infestation in the top of that document. The one what lists all the side effects, the top of that document that say that. The one, I don't know if that's allowed to be in public or private, I don't know. But I had it right right back 2020 I had that, 2021. Fucking like 3 pages of side effects, but we don't know nothing new. 3 pages of side effects, but we don't know nothing new. See, this is another thing. You see this technology? This technology, yeah? All connected to social services, real-time analysts, your health app. Graphene oxide's killed, and this has killed millions of people just so they can surveil you to see how you look after your kids when they've probably killed millions of kids. How many kids have to now be saved by social services to make this technology equal to what happened in the first place? Never. You wouldn't. Just prove us a fraud. And you can't put graphene oxide in a body and then expect to be able to heal it. Oh, I can heal it. Graphene oxide. Yeah, in your brain. Because that's what the UV light's doing. Breaking it down in your brain. So it penetrates to your neuron sides. Because that's what... If you now look at frequencies, 1 hertz or 10 hertz are really low. The frequency of 1 hertz in a wave is so high, it's probably higher than... You need an antenna to capture like the full wave. An antenna would have to be into probably space. Even though you can transmit on 1 hertz, I'm saying a 1 hertz frequency. The antenna for a 1 hertz frequency, you can look it up in an app. That's like 1,000 miles or something. The higher you go up in frequency, you get to 2.4 gigahertz. You're talking of an antenna sort of like that. That's dictated by the frequency, the wavelength. Something like half or a quarter wavelength for the full thing. So you catch the full wavelength, like a dipole antenna is... I can't do it on my phone. Sort of up and down. So you catch a half the top wave this end, bottom wave this end. So that's a big frequency, and then the dipole will get smaller, 2.4 gigahertz, and then 5 gigahertz, 5.8, whatever, and then you're going into millimeter wave, which means millimeter wave is only millimeter in frequency length. And then that's how it gets down to the cellular level. When then you're talking not hertz frequency, which is seconds, you're talking light frequency, which is in nanoseconds rather than hertz, which is still the same. You could say 600 nanohertz, but that in because it's light, so you say nanoseconds, but that's just the wavelength of light. And they're using black light, blue light, black light, which is purple, because that's the colour of my hair follicles that glow purple. Or if I go like focus in and out, it's either purple or green. So I don't know what the green have to do with it. When I show the quantum dots in my skin, I go out of focus from the chip, and that's green. And then you see a donut, a toroid, perfect toroid donut coming from it. It's crazy. See that, look? See it like all pattern up? You see it line up? Line up, come and get out of my body. You see it? You see it all like forming something on my face? I wish I could do what I'm doing in my head. I need to do it to my legs, but I know I don't think it'll work. I'm getting targeted 100%. Whether it's just the technology causing it, an effect, charging my body up, because my head, that's your head and your feet which are the worst hit. My calves and my legs below the knee are so bad, and I'm worried that I'm going to lose my legs, to be honest, because of gravity. This stuff end up in your legs, and that's what it's doing because of gravity. Obviously gravity in anything with weight, that's got to end up down, innit? Anything, gravity. So yeah, all end up in my legs. I'll eat something, and that night or the next day, I know it's been full of graphene. Biscuits I have them, but you should be able to check with a magnet the food, and just make sure it in a metal packet. So people go, nah, it's probably because metal's in the packet. Well, usually biscuits ain't got metal packet. I ain't saying they can't have. Maybe cookies or something. But most biscuits are just in a plastic. McVitie's were full of graphene. The most expensive ones as well. The ones with toffee in. Because I liked them. And half a packet of them. And there's millions of quantum dots coming out of my skin and my legs. And all my legs are inflamed and all puffed up like a proper cytokine storm. Really bad. To the point where it is risking losing my legs. That's how dangerous this stuff is. They don't care. Imagine it causes brain damage, neurodegenerative disease, getting into your neuron level. And graphene's known to be toxic. So social services and all that who's involved and getting their data from Amazon servers, like all the data in one, think, no, look, we've got real-time data. Yeah, well, look how many people died for it. Look how many old people died for it. All to do with this new data and APIs and all the rest of it. And all this academia and all the rest of it. People died for it. I don't want to use AI, not really. I'd cut up it since they targeted me after 2016 onwards, psychological, because I knew that was artificial intelligence. That was doing the psychological part, because that's doing it in like milliseconds in real time. And that could make you believe anything, I'm telling you, honestly. That could make me turn fucking trans. And that is the truth. That is that dangerous. That could now make me walk in a police station and admit to a murder thinking that I'd done it somehow. Through some weird story that was... So I'd feel guilty enough to go into a police station and say, look, I've done this or whatever. That is that powerful. People don't realise. People think that's just like propaganda media, mainstream media. Well, that's just part of it. But like that can change what you see on any website in real time. And so you're reading and everything is like in this, and you end up in this story down this rabbit hole and you believe in it. It's like, and then that can be life and death, which it is, because I've had attempts. See why police interested no one? Because they care more about the power. Power corrupts absolute, power corrupts absolute. Well, they benefit from the technology because brain computer interface. Innit? Everyone who's got the vaccine, I ain't vaccine, but I got a chip. It's hard to show. But I have got a chip. In there, you see that little brown spot? Well, that's a dead square when you look at it in that finger. And a bleeping ECG machine, so it must come up a code. And when I said it, to try and stop the vaccine, they sectioned me over it, saying that didn't happen. And I go, look, bleep, 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 like that, proper. And she goes, it's probably just a loose wire. So I went, look, shook my hand away from it, nothing. Just went like this, bleep, 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 bleep. And she looked away because she didn't know what to do. And then denied it later on. So who get made look delusional? Another section. And all I did was tell the truth. And they locked me up. And the first thing they done was give me a swab from Circo. And what did that have in it, I wonder? Apart from carbon nanotubes and graphene oxide and self-assembling circuitry. RT qPCR. Yeah, qPCR. Quantum. Which is full of that stuff, because I got videos of them coming up through my nose, chips. There, 4 there, to this side, my air lobe on the other side though, my air lobe in this bit of my air, this bit of my air, that and that bit, I had them come out of my neck. So why does a RT-PCR test, if us doing a PCR test and linking up to some connection somehow, Bluetooth, whatever, why does it need to go into the brain, into the head? Why can't it just do it in the stomach or wherever it's ingested? Why can't you just do it like that and then you shit it out like you should any medicine? What's got a surveillance system should be guaranteed pass through your body and nothing else, because they don't need to do nothing else. If they're in your body, that's enough. You don't need to get up and breach 1 million years worth of evolution. That's all wrong. But I hope this show, I'll have to cut it down. I just thought out of the energy, I'd try and get things out there to people, but suppressed. So I'm sorry, but most people skip past that because I thought exactly, my face don't fit the camera. And I ain't very good with talking. And I'm shit at editing. Really bad at editing. So I just throw in some old school and hope that the data just talk for itself. I'm just trying to show the pictures of injuries, and so people can look themselves the way I do it for me and just help people. And I got a new idea. I'm going to get my microscope. I got a microscope. Well, you know that the media like BBC, they'll say, oh, they're anti-vaxxers, oh, they're this and that and whatever, yeah, and don't believe them and all that, and then everyone's against them. And this isn't about vax or no vax, because it's in the food, it's in the blood of every bit of meat you eat. And even if you don't eat meat, it's in seeds, it's in plants, it's on everything, it's in everything, because everything's GMO. Anything GMO is in there. Everything's gone synthetic, and that's what people need to be fighting against more than anything. Synthetic. Once everything goes synthetic, everything will die. Guaranteed, with disease. Like the fish are dying in the sea because of synthetic fertilizer. And that's the problem. Synthetic. We don't need to have synthetic. Everything should be pure organic, not at the cost of anything else. And like, we should respect and live in one with nature. I agree with that. I don't agree with killing anyone because we're being depopulated. I definitely don't agree with that. And I believe population's collapsing. And I definitely believe this technology was not made by man. I know that as well. Just because of the way it is, the way it works, them fibres, ribosomes and all the rest, the Morgellons fibres, the chips, the quantum dots, and the realms that go through counter space. I just think that's not made by man. And then the fluid that you secrete, because they give you insect reservoirs like they did me. And I think that the anti-parasitic meds killed the network. That's sick when you see that, because it ain't just worms coming out of your skin. That is part of your skin. That is invisible. When you look at your skin, that's invisible. But if you now killed it, that will just come out, and you can see it is genetically changed. Your skin is genetically changed to be that, with channels and insect reservoirs. And that's what they are, insect reservoirs. And they look like worms when you kill it, and that's the parasitic part of it. And you can't see it, it's invisible, so people don't even realise. And another thing to look out for is white hairs. They're not usually on your body, and then you'll see some. And you'll see some like could be hair, and that'll fire off in a little one. and that's one stage of it, and that's when my fillings come out, both fillings. I know that stuff the doctors use has got the same technology as in the jab. The more gallons of fibres, the self-assembling nanotech, the quantum dot, graphene oxide sheets, all the rest of it. That's in that, but that's in food, that's in everything. So you can't blame vax, don't blame anti-vax. Make sure everyone don't blame each other and start. I was thinking that if I go to the city or to a supermarket wouldn't like it because that would cause chaos. But get my microscope and let someone go in the shop, buy something like a bit of meat, or if they want to do them a real-time blood analysis, when people actually see is real and not online where people say that's propaganda, when they actually see the meat come out of the shop and then go under the microscope and then see all the synthetic fibres, the chips, the fibre optic, what, you know, all the stuff in the blood and that, when they actually see that in it, I think that'll shock them, you know. And even though that's not what I want to do, I think that's the only way to get into the public. So it's not about vax, anti-vax. That's that. Look, this is in you. This is in the food. This is got to be. This is in blah blah. Everything else. Let's build something where we can test everything to make sure it's safe before we eat it, and then we need to go to government and like say, what's our MP doing over this? People need to complain. Someone needs to write a good letter that people can copy and send in. We need to do the signature thing so it get debated in the House of Commons because no one's debating it. And if they try and put that off as not urgent, like immediate urgently, BBC should be warning people about it, which I know they wouldn't, but exactly will expose it because the normal public will see it in real time on a camera, on the microscope, on a screen, yeah, and then they'll see all the stuff in real time that they got from the shop or they got from their blood if they want to do a live blood test, just to check how much is in what and where, and then what can we do to make sure that we're then getting stuff passed down the food chain that is safe, and the stuff that isn't, which is even cereals and that go into everything with graphene, even drugs, the gel caps, graphene's in them. You melt the whatever you call it, jelly stuff. You melt the jelly stuff on a pill, that can have graphene in it. So people need to buy magnets. And I'm not trying to do this to con people, but I want on my website to sell magnets so people can do tests on foods in shops. I want one to go on a key ring. So even though it stick to your keys, it don't matter. Maybe sticking in your pocket, it might start pulling it towards your pocket and see it come out of your skin that way. Who knows? But that probably safer that way because it falls down that way anyway. You're probably catching it before you get to the lower legs, saving you from injury. Or it could clot in your leg and then cause you to lose your leg. I don't know. I'm not about that. But anything's possible. But I'm just saying a magnet, yeah, in your pocket ain't got to harm nothing, or in your wallet. A keyring magnet. And if people are sensitive like me, I mean in feeling, like touch sensitive, can feel something gently and feel it. You wave it like across food like this. You feel individual biscuits gone like, I can show it on there. Bloom, 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 bloom. So when you're going across it, that's going do, 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 do. You feel it. Just waving the magnet across the biscuits. You feel each individual biscuit, so you know it's not a packet, because a packet would be even across. You feel the biscuits, you can tell they are full of graphene, full of it, because they're so magnetic. But a magnet ain't got to just go plonk onto it and stick. It's not strong enough, because the field ain't strong enough. And if you get a meter for EMF, and you put that on it, a magnetic field's got to be moving. If I now put this on an EMF meter and went like that onto an EMF meter, nothing's going to happen. You've got to break the field lines to make electromotive force before you'll set off a meter. So if you get an EMF meter and there's the biscuits, you need to go like this with the EMF meter, like you do the magnet, to break the field lines to then set it off. And depending on, like, you do it like that fast, that should set the EMF meter off, yeah? Then you know there's something in it. If not, you get a magnet, and then you do that with a magnet, but you relax so you can feel the slightest little force. So I want everyone to have a magnet. It's funny the BBC wanted to delete magnets. Not ban magnets, remember that? BBC are worried about magnets for children. I wonder why. Innit? Why is the BBC worrying about magnets for children? We've had them since the dawn of time. They couldn't ban magnets anyway. They could ban these neodymium magnets, but they couldn't ban a magnet, because you can make your own. If you've got a bit of iron or steel or... Do you know what I mean? You make your own, innit? All you have to do is get a wire, wrap it round, and battery, the wire was wrapped round, you short, go duh, and pull the fields in, and then you got it. And that's that easy, and then it'll stay a magnet. My body get magnetic the more EMF I'm round. I think I got targeted today, because my nervous system vibrate. I know it's all inflammatory, and this stuff is causing inflammatory, and I get better, worse, and I'm not even checking my own food, but I need to. But I'm thinking, if I do my website and redo it, because it's got loads of gobbledygook, even though I did try and warn people about the food, and then get a list of good products, good supermarkets, well not in the supermarket, good products, what ain't so contaminated, or not contaminated would be better, but the least would be worse, you know. And then so everyone know about it, yeah, because if the public's here, rather than being online going down your political lines, you've got to get to a bigger range of people in reality, and they've got to see it, so they're going to say, no, I see this is true. Like, they can be disputed, no matter how much you show them online, they just get disputed, or people just skip to the next thing, because there's so much online that it's too much to deal with one thing. But I think if you show them, and show them that's in everything, and in them, not just about showing, and then see if I can get help to buy some more equipment. And then I was thinking that we could get more people and then work up the food chain as well, because I know all the big tech, big pharma, they're all doing it, and they say that they're all about their shareholders and board of directors, and they do not care about the public. Things have changed. Look in people's look in companies, and then look up their policies and that. All they care about is their shareholders and the board of directors, and they even say that, like, whatever about the community, because they talk about community in there. So if they're just talking about business, they're not. They're saying that they've got impact on community, but they don't care because it's about profits. So they're admitting it outright, blatant, in your face, in their policies, that they don't care about the public no more. It's not about anything about protecting public. That's about profits, and that's it. Profits and success of their company, that is it. Nothing else. They don't care about nothing else. And that's bad. So people need to start learning about that. So I need a website really where we in the UK, and if other people want to do it in other countries, where we do have a list of foods that is safe to eat, and we know that that's got to get checked like on a weekly basis by someone. If like people hold chip in a little bit, and then we could even get to where you go to the farms, because farmers don't